Welcome back to Letdown, the podcast where accuracy is questionable, but our enthusiasm is deadly.
Speak for yourself. My enthusiasm is questionable too.
That's for sure. Today we got someone who isn't questionable. He's a Canadian 3D national champion and the archery director at Elmira Rod and Gun Club. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for today's episode, Payton Golden.
Let's get into it.
Pow.
Welcome, Payton, to the Letdown. How's it going?
Good, man. It's going good. Just trying not to get stuck at home today with this weather.
It's pretty brutal today.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
I know I haven't, I'm up in Elmira right now, but it's been snowing for like the last, 7 hours pretty straight. So we got a few inches here. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but.
Yeah, the roads are pretty not nice here. I picked up winter tires today.
Good timing.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't put mine on, so I wait till the last minute. I usually do it outside when it's snowing, so.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any snow here, but man, the winds today were brutal. And I blew my gate open when my dog was outside. He ran out. So my girlfriend grabbed her sweater, put on her boots, and ran out the front door. And there he's sitting right on the front porch.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's just waiting to come inside, just like, hey.
Yeah, let me in.
All right, let's get into this. Just want to start at the beginning, Payton. How did archery enter your life?
In 2020 or 2018, I should say, I got my hunting license. Hunting was something I always wanted to get into. I didn't come from like a hunting family. I didn't have friends that hunted. But it was something for a lot of years that I wanted to get into. And I finally, bit the bullet, went and took the course, bought a rifle, went hunting for a few years with my dad. He also just got into hunting at the same time I did. And I always wanted to get into archery and bow hunting. And I bought my first bow in 2021. And then since I didn't really have any friends that hunted, I joined a gun club. And, ever since that, it's kind of taken off. That journey, getting into the gun club, really set things in motion for me. I don't know if you guys know, but Tom Schnarr used to run the Elmira Rod and Gun Club. And when I was a member there, I didn't really see a lot of archers. There's a handful. And then Tom decided to step down that year. And we held our annual meeting and no one was willing to take over for the Elmira Club. So at that moment, like in the meeting, it's kind of intimidating, but I wanted to nominate myself for it and take over, but I didn't. And later the next day I emailed the board and I said, hey, if this opportunity is still available, like I'm more than willing to take over for it. I just, being in part of a club that didn't have a lot of archers, I was afraid that department was going to kind of fall to the wayside. So I took over. And then, man, after setting up courses, and I had never set up a course before, I really wanted to run events. And I knew what 3D targets were, but I didn't know how an event ran. I didn't know if I was setting up courses right. So I spent that whole year going to every single club I could and shooting their event. And then by doing that, I met like all of you guys. I met so many good friends, and they kept on pushing me to like shoot more and more, like more premium events. And the rest is history. That's kind of the origin to my archery career so far.
So,
That's-
so before you were shooting 3D, you were already archery director even before you even started shooting the sport.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, man, I was in the meeting and all I could think of was like, man, if no one takes over for this, like it's just this club. The club's not going to die, but the archery, you know, is going to be, it's going to struggle because already we don't have a lot of archers there, and no one else is willing to stand up and take on that responsibility. And at the time, I was single. I had just bought a bow. I was out there almost 3-4 times a week, pretty much right after I keep my bow in my car. I'd go from work right to the range and I'd leave at dark. And I wouldn't see anyone for weeks sometimes. So I wanted to see it continue. I wanted to, improve some things. But yeah, it was super intimidating all of a sudden being like, here's your key, here's all the targets, like it's all yours. And then, like I said, I dove head in, and I tried to go to every single club that year. I think I Googled archery events in Ontario. I found the Archery Ontario page that lists all the events. I printed it off at work. I posted it on my billboard by my computer, and I highlighted every single weekend that I could make. And I was Googling the clubs to see like which ones were like okay to drive to. Like I went as far as Muskoka to AIM. I'd go all the way to London to like the I think it's Wellington County Club or something. Oxford Club. I must have did like 20 plus events, just just club events,
That's a lot.
and that wasn't any of the ASAs, that wasn't provincials, nationals, or anything. That was just club fun shoots. Yeah.
Do you remember the first event that you won?
First event that I won?
Oh, look, there's so many that
No.
he's forgetting.
No, I don't remember the first one. I remember the first event I went to. It was at Waterloo County. I was so intimidated because I pulled in and there's like 30, 40 cars and everyone's out there talking. They all have their bows. And I'm just like, I have no idea what to expect. Like quivers on my bow. Like, I don't even think I didn't have a hip quiver. I had like a cheap $100 rangefinder at the time. And I remember just walking up to the nearest person. I was like, hey, I'm new here. What do I do? And they're like, oh, registration opens, but they're late. So, you're going to have to hang out for a bit. And I was like, okay. And I just hung out and I went up to registration. I was like, guys, I've never done this before. Dan, I forget his last name now, but he heard it and he's like, come shoot with me. And, yeah, I just hung out with him all day. He kind of showed me the ropes. And then after that experience, it was like, that's when I printed off the sheet and I was like, okay, every single day I can make one of these things. I'm going to it. But I remember, this is a funny story. I remember coming off the range at lunch and Waterloo County just gets you to write your score on a whiteboard. And I remember writing down, I think I shot can't remember. It was like 180 or something. And I was like, holy crap, like I'm in first. And then I shot the second half and I came back and I was like, God damn it, this guy is in front of me. He shot like a 386 and I shot like a 380 or something like that. And it was CJ.
That's hilarious.
And that was the first day I met CJ.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, a 380 on your first event ever is impressive.
Yeah, much better than we were talking to Josh Webb last week. His first event was a 153 over 40 targets.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. But that would have been unknown at the time.
That's true. Very true. Yeah. Yeah, he was using no release. He was using fingers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
with a compound and with the old Payton pins
Yeah.
for sights. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just want to take it back to you were just talking about, and you're probably the third or fourth person we've had on. They get an archery for hunting, but their family has never hunted before. Like they don't have any. Like, so what got you into hunting?
I think just being in love with the outdoors. Like I grew up doing a lot of summer camps as a kid. I think the reality was it was a lot cheaper than like daycare and stuff for my parents. Of just like paying a few $100 and you get like a week where you can just drop your kid off. So every summer growing up, I was always in summer camps. And Guelph actually has a really cool community of summer camps for kids. And my mom would print off the list of all the camps for that summer. And she'd be like, okay, you get to choose like 4, like pick whichever ones. I would always pick the outdoor ones. And then with that and my parents being really big into the outdoors, I grew up going camping all the time. I was in Beavers when I was a kid, which is like the prequel to Scouts. So I think just a love for the outdoors. I also got really big into Joe Rogan when his podcast kind of blew up. And I think I caught on to a really lucky time of like when Dudley was on. And Dudley was on, Steve Ranella was on, Remy Warren, like all these hunters. And I was just really fascinated by it. I also love fishing. So it was kind of like the next evolution of that. Yeah, I think it's just the love of the outdoors, honestly. There's no like particular like moment growing up that I was like, this is why. I think it was just an evolution of loving the outdoors.
So, one more question in this segment. When you first picked up a bow, were you a natural at shooting, or did it take work to hit your target?
I think a lot of hand and eye coordination stuff, like sports, comes very natural to me. Like I grew up playing baseball. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like shooting a bow wasn't hard for me. But I did it so much at that time when I first picked it up. Like being a part of the club where there wasn't a lot of people, just being by myself all the time. I just spent so much time practicing, and I never went out there just to shoot. Like for me, when I went out there, I always wanted to get better. And before I went to my first 3D event, like it had almost been a full year of me just shooting by myself at the club. And it was something I enjoyed so much that any free time that I had outside of the club, I was listening to as many podcasts as I could, watching as many videos. And John Dudley was like the guy that I watched videos on. So from the time I picked it up and I was like, this is something I want to like get really good at. Every time I stepped on the range was always practicing. Like there was always something I was working on. And any questions I had or anything that I was like curious about was just spending all my time on YouTube and watching videos on techniques and stuff. And I think the one thing that I have to give myself credit for is like, I think I'm a pretty teachable and coachable person. I don't have an ego when it comes to that. Like if someone's better than me at something, like I will 100% like listen to them and try it out. I may not fully adapt it, but in the end, like you can learn something from that advice regardless. So
yeah, that's actually wisdom, right? It's I remember an older fellow once told me, he's like, when I was trying to learn archery, he said, people are going to give you all kinds of advice and you should listen and especially if they've got more experience, and you listen to what they got to say, but you don't have to use everything they tell you, right? And whether you learn to use what that person gave you or that it doesn't work for you, you've still learned something. So I think it's like really wise, and being coachable. I found, I think I've coached a couple of, especially some younger kids that are really not coachable, or at a point where they don't want to listen, or whatever. Yeah, it's important. I tell my kids that all the time. Like, you gotta be, if you want to be good at sports, you have to be coachable. You have to listen to what your coach says. They've got more experience than you, and if you want to be good at any sport. So getting onto that, like, what helped you build momentum early on in 3D and shooting archery?
Honestly, passion. Like, after that first event, something just clicked. Like, I knew it was something I was going to continue doing. And with doing so many events, especially in this community we have in Southern Ontario, you meet so many awesome people, and it just reinforces that passion for archery. I find it a little bit different than other sports, like team sports and stuff. Like, we all love, we're playing hockey. We all love hockey. And maybe this just because I don't have the same passion, but like in the archery community, like, we'll hang out and just talk archery like all night long, and we love it. And I never had that with other sports. Like, for me, it was always just a fun hangout with friends and stuff. But like, playing competitive baseball, I wouldn't talk baseball with my friends like at school. But with archery, it's, it's almost reinforcing that. And because we have such a good community, it creates such a good atmosphere, and like, it's such a good time, especially for me. Like, I love, whether I'm, in contention for like a good win, or I'm just out there having a good time. Like, I still go to fun shoots just because I love it. Yeah, and nowadays it's still the same thing. I love it so much, and my girlfriend may say maybe too much with how much money I spend on it and how much time I'm away doing it, but this is it for me, man. Like, for the rest of my life, this is going to be something that I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that even if you're still learning, I mean, we're all still learning every time we go and shoot and practice. But like, even if you have a bad day, you're still enjoying it, and you still have that community to talk to and chat with afterwards, and listening to the podcasts, learning all that from a wider community, just not in your local area, but around the world. I don't see a bunch of people doing that for other sports, honestly, or other passions, whether it's bow hunting or target archery or whatever. That's what makes this special.
Yeah, I was listening to Brandon McDonald and MFJJ's podcast that came out with Greg Poole. I think it came out today or yesterday, but they were talking about why, like, even though crossbows take up such a dominant amount of the industry, like, why there isn't like a big demographic of like crossbow influencers and all these videos and all this community around crossbows like there are vertical bows. And the simple reason is because the community is reinforced by the fact that we're all still learning. Like, it's something you can't perfect, And I think that's what's so beautiful about the archery community, is that even if, if you're like, you picked it up for the first time, or you've been shooting it for your whole life, like, people are still trying to gain ground of like getting better. They're still meeting new people. Like, there's so many positive aspects about this community.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. So just want to take you to or start talking about so yeah, like your competitive career.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start feeling like you were going to be competitive with provincials or nationals? Like when did you start thinking like, yeah, my scores are good enough, man? Like I'm there.
I have to give all the credit to Bruno. So this would have been, I think, the first year that I was shooting all these club events, and I was shooting at Oxford County, and I got assigned to a target, and I showed up to the target, and they must have screwed up because I was the only one at that target. And I shot my first target, and then I moved up to the next one, and it was Bruno and two of his friends. And Bruno looked at me and he's like, "Are you by yourself?" I was like, "Yeah, like no one's here." And he's like, "Okay, you're going to be on our ass all day. Like you might as well just join us." So I shot the whole day with Bruno. And, if anyone's shot with experienced guys before, they know that, they'll like to score, or they like, holding the scorecard. So at the end of the first half, Bruno was tallying up all our scorecards. And he looked at me and he's like, "What's the best you've ever shot?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 195 on a round." And he hands me my scorecard, and I was 2 up. And it was the first time I've ever shot 2 up. And at the end of the day, he pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, in like 6 weeks or something, there's an ASA at AIM. Like you should go to it." And I was like, "Okay." Like, he's really good. He's telling me I should go do this. Like, I guess I'm going to go. And at the time, I didn't have a sliding sight. I was still like gap shooting pins.
Oh, wow.
And so I bought my first black gold slider sight, and I went to this event, and I met CJ and Gary there. And this is the second time I met them. And I ended up going into the shoot down in second place.
Nice.
And I finished the day in second. And it was the first time I'd ever been in a shoot down. I was super nervous, like shaking like crazy. And Rick Marchant won that event. And at the end of the event, he went to shake my hand and he's like, "Dude, you're really good. Like, how long you been shooting?" And I was like, 1.5 years, I think. And he goes, "Fuck you," and just walks away. So I think after that, I was like, I guess I got to keep doing this. And then the next year, provincials was at AIM, so I shot that. And then after that, like it was just trying to hit all the premium events. Like that was kind of like the stage where like I felt like I needed to level up from club events to like the more premium events. So that's when I found out about all the ASAs of Porcupine Hollow, the Southern Classic, and I don't think Rogues Hollow wasn't there yet. But
what was your first championship? Was that provincials or was it nationals?
So
what year was that?
So the year after I shot the ASA at AIM was 2023, and provincials was at AIM. So I went to provincials then. That year I came second. Blake Kitchens came first.
Oh, okay.
And if anyone knows him, he's an amazing shooter. He shoots pro class in IBO. He's an IBO guy. And he gave me a run for my money. And even though I came in second, he still, walked away easily with that event. And after that, I was like, I want to beat him. And so moved to 2024. Provincials was at York County, and York County was his club. So I went into that provincials being like, okay, there's one guy I'm going for. It's Blake. And for whatever reason, he didn't go to provincials that year. And that format, you've touched on it, but you're changing it. But the old format for provincials was 2 days of 40 targets. And I just had a killer weekend. I think one round, I think the last 20 targets, I think I hit 16 11s in that.
Oh my god.
Oh,
The moment, like last year, I had a fantastic year. I hit the high score at provincials out of all the classes. And then I went to Fredericton for nationals, and I had a killer first day, and I think I hit 13 11s the first day. And then I ended up winning the shoot down. So last year I got first in provincials and first in nationals.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. And so the format for nationals was it's 40 targets the first day, 20 targets and a shoot off, correct? On the next day?
Yeah. So the national format, you have a full day, day one, which is 20 in the morning, lunch, 20 in the evening. And then day two is only 20 targets, but for those 20 targets, you're peer grouped. So day one, how Archery Canada usually does it is you're grouped, as far as I understand, it's alphabetical. So they group you alphabetically, you shoot your first score, and then day two, they ditch the groups and they go to the ranking for the groups for the peer grouping. And then you have day three, which is only shoot downs.
Jeez.
So, and depending on what class you're in and how on time or late they are on the schedule, like you could be waiting 5 hours for a shoot
that's a long
down.
time.
And like you don't want to show up just on time in case they're like a little ahead of schedule. So like you get there early, hit the practice range for a while, and then you're kind of just hanging out all day for the most part until you're like maybe 10 minutes of shooting.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm kind of laughing, but during those 5 hours, like how do you stay mentally focused? Because like, and we touched on it with Josh, like focus in archery is, he calls it the squirrels.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that focus and waiting that long and then for the shoot off?
It's hard, man. I try to stay as relaxed as possible. I don't want to be too relaxed. Like I want to also be confident. So it's kind of managing my time at the practice range, get a few reps in, take a break, get cooled down a little bit, maybe get something to drink, hang out for a bit, maybe talk to some friends. Like it's awesome going to some of these events and seeing, especially driving halfway across the country to these events and like seeing someone that and just hanging out with them for a bit, cooling down, and then maybe hitting the practice range a few more times, right? And for me, the practice range at those events is not to like it's you got to be careful not to overdo it. Like I want to be, loose and warmed up, but I know if I'm out there for hours, like I'm just going to tire myself out. Especially if I feel like something's not going well too, like I'll start to spiral with that. Like if you're like, oh, maybe my sight's off a little bit, like maybe I should move it. It's like, take a break, cool down a little bit, go for a bit of a walk, talk to someone, hit the practice range again, because chances are it's probably just you, right? So it's just knowing yourself. And like some guys don't even hit the practice range, that last day. Some guys are maybe like, I've shot 2 days in a row, I know where everything's good, like I may take a shot or two just to like warm up, and then I'm good to go. For me, it's a little more of strategic planning of like, being warmed up but not overdoing it, and keeping that mental state like nice and calm and relaxed. Now I understand of just keeping it cool by talking with people, honestly. Like get the physical side of being warmed up, but then the other mental side of just hanging out with someone and just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And that takes my mind off of all the stress that's going on. You know, shooting nationals this year with Ben was awesome because we were kind of doing the same thing. We'd hit the practice range for a little bit, cool down, chat, hang out, maybe go back to the practice range. So that's how I go for it. It's been working for me. So
Awesome.
but everyone's different.
Well, I just avoid the practice range because I know that I'm going to waste all my good shots. So
Yeah.
there's 4 good shots in the hole in 40 rounds.
Yeah.
Peyton, when you hit the practice range, is there a certain routine that you follow? Because when I go to practice range, I'll start at 20, shoot about 9, 12 arrows, then I'll go to 30, 9, 12 arrows, then a 40. Then I'll go back to 20, and then I'll take a break.
Yeah. So the way I practice like outside of tournaments is very different from how I practice, like say in nationals where it's like a big event. When it comes to big events like nationals, usually I'm practicing a little bit further than max. So in hunter class, if your max is 45, like I'll probably be hitting the 60 bail. And my only goal at these events is to just make clean breaks. That's it. Honestly, I don't focus too much on my grouping at that point. It's just making sure that every shot, like I'm mentally in the zone, and making sure everything's clicking. Technique wise, I know I'm good. I've done it so often that I'm not having technique issues. It's all mental. So I want to just hammer in every single shot to be a mentally good shot. A nice clean break, ideally a surprise break. And that leads me into the competition, right? So if I can find that zone and then we go into the range or into the course, like I'm mentally all warmed up. For me, that's the goal is like mentally being warmed up. When I'm practicing outside of competition, it's 100% technical. When I hit the range, I usually have an idea of what I want to work on. Sometimes it's aiming. Sometimes it's breathing. A lot of people don't think about breathing while they're shooting. Breathing is super critical. So when I'm doing that, it may be an hour and a half of taking shots, just focusing on my breathing, just focusing on a surprise release, focusing on, mentally checking that my grip is in the same position, And for me, that's where I think I've gained so much success is when I go to the club to shoot, I'm not shooting, I'm practicing, right? To me, there's a very distinct difference in that. Like when I tell Kristen, my girlfriend, like I'm going to the range to shoot, like I'm not there to have fun. I'm not there to just shoot my bow. Like I'm going there with a purpose to work on something. Sometimes I don't know exactly what it is. But every minute I'm on the range, even with there's friends there, like I'm working on something and it's just that one specific thing, right? I think it's really important that when you practice in these blocks of just focusing on one thing. And archery is so freaking complicated. There's so many things that are all going on at one time. And it's so easy to like overload yourself with all these problems, and when you get into coaching, you realize that you're like vomiting all this information and there's so much to take in. You just got to focus on one thing. And every time you practice, you're building that resume of technique. And the more times you do it, the more times those blocks kind of fall away into just muscle memory. And that's like my basic philosophy with practicing. And I preach it all the time to people, you know, shooting's fun, but shooting isn't practicing.
No.
It's a good way to put it, man.
That's, yeah, like you have the same philosophy. Like Valerie's the same way. When she goes to the club, she's not going there to hang out and shoot. She's going there to practice. And she's got a notebook, and she's keeping notes of what she's struggling with and what she needs to work on, and et cetera, right? And it's it's something else. Like I think that's in my archery game. That's kind of where I'm lacking. Because, well, part of going to when I go to the club, everyone wants to talk to me and chat about the club. But even when I go to because I'm also a member of Caledon. Even when I go to Caledon, I just kind of shoot. I'm not really practicing anything. I'm not paying attention to whatever. Until very recently, I've started paying attention to a lot of my form. I'm having Josh Webb look at my back elbow and some other form things I need to work on. So yeah, I think I'm going to be doing a lot more of that this year, and hopefully improve my game. You know, like not that I'm going to be Payton Golden tomorrow, but hopefully I'll get close. You know, maybe get close to Misha or something. So
watch out, Misha.
God,
So you touched upon you touched upon coaching a little bit. Are you coaching kids, or I know when I met you at the beginning coaching sessions with Bruce Savage, you expressed an interest in coaching youngsters. Are you coaching any youngsters at the moment?
Not really. Like I have a few friends that I coach, and there's a few people that I've that have expressed interest of getting into archery. I was really looking to push for it pretty heavily 2 years ago. And honestly, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. You know, I'll still do it. I still have a passion for it. But I think competing is kind of has taken over, and also a lot of what I'm doing with the club. So much of my time already is taken up by archery, and coaching is just another thing that I struggle to fit into that whole schedule. So I won't turn people down, but I don't necessarily market it as much as I don't know if much as I should, but as much as maybe I want to, I guess. And the other thing is, like, half the time when I'm at clubs and stuff and talking to people, like, people are asking me advice already, and I'm kind of coaching them, you know, in a sense. For me, my true passion for coaching is people that have never picked up a bow before. That's what I love to teach. If people are struggling with stuff that have been shooting for a while, honestly, I just help them out, you know, especially when we're part of the same club or at the same event or anything. I don't want to be like handing out business cards for that. It's I love the sport. I love helping people. You know, so
Yeah, I think Priester was saying that. He was telling me. I remember I just asked him for some help. He said, "Yeah, I'll meet you at Shooters at 7:00 or something." And I said, "Oh, we're gonna have a coaching session." He says, "Ah, we're not gonna call it that because I'm just gonna give you some advice and look at your shot, and we'll go from there, right?" So I'm like you. I love beginner archers. I've had this year. I think I coached about 5 or 6 people who'd never shot a bow before, and then we had a few events where Justin and I took a bunch of people who'd never shot bows before, and it was a blast. Like you take them out to the 3D range. They're so excited, and you know, and so like I'll show off a little bit with a recurve bow, and I'll 15 yards, and I'll hit a 12, and they're all like, "Oh my god, how'd you do that?" And it's like, wow, 15 yards and I got lucky. So
Yeah. I'm
the
really
reader,
good at
but-
this. Yeah.
yeah, really good. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed beginners as well.
Mhm.
So let's just rewind a bit to because part of the series I've been trying to do it is showcasing some of the different clubs. What motivated you to take the archery director thing on?
The
Aside
biggest
from nobody else was doing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't want to see it die, you know, and I fell in love with the sport even at the time when I hadn't been doing any of the competitions. But I also just I love coaching. I love, you know, I loved being in the community of the club. And at the time I had a lot of free time, you know, to hang out and set up courses and stuff like that. But yeah, I might have been a little naive at the time of like all the work that gets put into it. But yeah, it was just the passion that was carrying me at the time. And I still love, that's the only reason why I'm still doing it, is because I love it so much. And now that we've got these events going, that's kind of lit another fire for me to keep doing that. And now, honestly, now it's the community that we've built around the events that we've been doing. Those big events are awesome. But for the few years that I've been the director, the most fun I have is when I do a fun shoot, non-competitive fun shoot. And when I get guys that come out saying, hey, I live 20 minutes down the road. I never knew this club was here. I've been shooting a bow for 4 years. I saw this posted online. I've never done this before. And for me, that's the most exciting thing, you know. And I immediately group them up with someone who's super experienced and who I know is going to be, you know, a great person to be grouped up with. And then if anyone's ever shot one of my events, at the end of the course, there's usually a long shot. And the most fun I have is pulling out my lawn chair, taking my boots off, have my feet out on the bare grass, and just with my binos watching people shoot these long shots and just seeing how happy they are and how much fun they're having. And then at the end of the day, you know, I'm not collecting any scorecards. There's no awards. We eat a great lunch and just everyone has a, you know, a really fun time. And I think that's what's keeping me going with this.
Yeah, I like your long shots. It's been a Buffalo the last couple times, but
Yeah.
still, it's nice. It's like 80-ish yards, 80 some odd yards.
Yeah, I think I put the flags usually 10, 20 yards longer. But I usually tell everyone like, hey, this is a fun shoot. Like stretch it out as far as you're comfortable with, or if you want to challenge yourself, like go for it. And honestly, the coolest thing is seeing some of the trad and bareboat guys. And they're just like, this is awesome. Thanks for making it a big target. But they have a blast too, you know? And it's just so enjoyable to watch people have fun doing it.
Yeah, you
first,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
all right. The first time I shot that, I think we stretched it out because you shot with us as well too. I think we stretched it out to 100 and close to 100 yards.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
we're
I
like
think it was like
109.
yeah.
Yeah, that was an absolute blast. One of my arrows went in behind the bush.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I know for the FDCC, you, CJ, and Gary all had your own little spin on some of the targets out there. And that last shot on the second loop, the deer by the
Yeah,
river,
by the creek.
that
yeah.
was an amazing shot. Good work on that one.
Yeah, so a cool story about that is I spent days cutting that trail. And it was literally coming down to like the day before the event of getting that course ready. And CJ pulled in with his truck and I was like, dude, I got so much stuff to do. Like, just all the lanes are cut. Just start putting targets out. Like, you've been to events, you know what you're doing. Just keep them as long as possible because we don't have a ton of range. And then I was like, but target 20 is mine. Do not touch it. So that deer was the only target on that course that I had like a very specific vision for. And then CJ and Gary came out to help that day too, and they set out some of that course.
Yeah, everybody loved that shot. That was probably one of the best shots of that whole entire shoot.
I hear only the tree didn't love that shot, so there's a
No.
tree there with a lot of arrows in it.
Yeah, how many
Yeah.
arrows you pull out of that tree?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if I pulled out any arrows. I might have to go and look back at it. I think Cassie was the only one who said that she hit a branch on that, but everyone else loved it.
I know when we shot it, or when I shot it, there was 3 arrows in the tree, like in the branch, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, that sucks.
Hopefully they took the arrows because I don't remember seeing any. So yeah.
So we had Julian on 2 weeks ago, and he's gotten to the point now where if they're hosting the event, he would rather host it than partake in it. And are you at that point now where you would rather host an event than partake in it?
Yes. Especially if it's for the club that I'm a part of. Even if I'm not director, I think I would still want to be volunteering for it. I love doing it. It's, there's points in it that are very stressful, and thankfully we, have a great community and great friends like Chris that will help out with some of those stressful, parts of the event. But yeah, putting on a great lunch. I love being a part of that. I love setting courses. It's like probably one of my favorite things to do with archery events. And I love it so much that like once the event starts, like I want to walk the course and like talk to people and see how they're liking it. And I did that at the FDCC, and a lot of people had a lot of good things to say. So I was pretty happy about that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when I run a fun shoot at Royal City, I love going around just talking to people. It's I don't know what it is. You put on an event and you have all these people, they leave, they're smiling. It's so like, again, I'll always say like nobody does anything selflessly, right? There is a little bit of selfishness there where I get something out of it when I put on a great event. People come, they're happy. I get so much out of that because it's just like when I host a party here at my house, right? I just people leave and they're like, "Oh, that was fun. We did karaoke, whatever."
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, so. And it's been my pleasure working the FDCC. I remember the reason why I helped especially the first time around, because I remember the first big event I did, and it was just me and Ian Campbell, and we were sitting at the table, and I remember looking down the road, going, "Holy crap! There's 100 friggin' people here, and we're writing everything down. We have no computers.
Yeah,
we're taking them. So Ian's taking the money." I'm writing her name down, and I'm looking at my watch. It's like 9:30. We got to get out by 10 o'clock, and there's still about 50 people to go. So I was like, never again. First of all, never again will I ever get in that kind of situation. And if I have an opportunity to help somebody so they don't have to, because that was so stressful. I remember at the end of it, I looked at Ian, I was like, holy crap, man. I don't know how we got that off, but it went off. Everybody loved the shoot. And it was, again, I was so proud of the work we had done. So
yeah, I remember the first event I did, I just focused on fun shoots. One, because there was less pressure on me to like, hold a competitive event, and two, like I didn't have a lot of help. So I was like, I can set the course. I can get one person to come out from the club to help with lunch. And then since I'm not taking scores because it's a fun shoot, like I can sit back and relax while people are finishing their last round. Right. So the fun shoots came out of like just the reality of I can't host these big events. And one, I needed to start from the ground up because the club hadn't done a lot of events through actually, we didn't do any events through COVID. So, there had been years that the name of Elmira Rod and Gun had kind of like dissipated in the community a little bit. Like people knew of it, but since we weren't doing events anymore, like, people didn't know about it as much.
Yeah. So with Elmira, I know you were saying you have a handful of archers there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a vision moving forward, or is it just you just want to host events at the club, or is there anything you'd like to see at Elmira for the archery program?
Yeah, my biggest goal is building the community back. So, from my understanding, we used to have a pretty decent community, and for whatever reason, that community is kind of slowly dwindled a little bit. But now with 2 really good years behind us of events, we're going to be investing more into the club. Community has always been my number one focus at the club. But it's kind of difficult because we are a gun club. We're not separate like other clubs that are gun clubs and archery clubs. So the barrier to entry for the gun club is a lot more stringent than your average archery club, right? You have to go through background checks. It's a little more expensive. You got to volunteer. So that's difficult to bring people in. But with doing the events and people being able to shoot the club, like there's more interest gaining and more people are reaching out. And because a lot of the archery community are also hunters, a lot of them also have guns, so they also see a dual use in the club. So some people see the value in it, but it's slow, right? Some clubs grow a lot faster than others, and we're just growing a little slowly, but I think it's not a bad thing either, right? It's a little more controlled, but I would love to see the archery community be stronger for sure.
Well, if it gets too strong, you'll be busy. Trust me. Like you.
Yeah. And I'm already pretty busy. Yeah.
So, what? Moving on to like community. What do you wish more archers understood earlier in their journey to archery?
Probably that, at least from my experience, is that it's, if it's something you want to do and you find it intimidating, you should know that 99.9% of these people that you see at events or at clubs, one, are willing to help you, but two, are great people. And yeah, for me, like, I can still remember the feeling. Like, it was just, I would just sit in my car, and it was so intimidating to go to some of these events. I remember going to Royal Cities for the first time and seeing so many people at the practice range, and I was just like, I'm just not going to practice before this event, but we have such a great community here in Southern Ontario. Like I mentioned with other sports, like it's nothing I've ever been a part of before. So
just a bit of a personality question then. You find yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Definitely an introvert. Yeah.
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 Because I used to struggle the same thing. If I had to go to that's why I'm glad my wife's into archery, because if I had to go to these events by myself, I would just sit in the car. I don't think I'd ever get out. I'd see all these people. I'm like, I don't want to do this. No.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So
yeah. Like it's tough at first. Like anything that I try to get into, I'm always nervous at first, but like you said, the community is so awesome that, once you get to know a few people, it makes it so much easier.
So, speaking about community and mentorship, who influenced you to shoot? Like who did you see and was like, yeah, I want to get a bow? Or
for me, it was John Dudley, and just how he spoke about archery, how passionate he was for education and coaching. I soaked up every single video he ever put out. And that was like the first step for me. And that was the year when he signed with PSE. And I was like, well, I'm getting a PSE. Like, I love this guy. I love everything he's about. I watch everything he does. Like, I'm going to get a PSE. And that was my first bow, was a PSE Embark. And then meeting Bruno was like a critical point in my, say, career. One, just like idolizing the guy of like how good he was or is, but getting to meet him and talk to him, and how motivating he was to like kind of push me to go to some of these bigger events. And being so new and seeing guys in sponsored jerseys and stuff, like it's kind of cool to be like, yeah, I know a sponsored guy, he's my friend. And and that was the next step of just, wanting to get sponsored, wanting to go to nationals, or provincials and then nationals, and then, kind of just working my way up. And, still it's crazy. Like, Bruno's one guy who I idolize, but there's so many guys who are new to the community that are like killers. You go to some of these ASA events here and it's like, dude, like these guys motivate me to like continue doing what I'm doing.
It's awesome. That competitive spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think we talked about it before, or we talked about it on the show before, is, like I love shooting with guys that are better than me. Like I'm like you. I'm like, if you're better than me, I want to learn from you. My ego is not that I can't say that I'm not that great at shots, and learn from somebody who's a better shot than I am. So, but moving on to the sort of let's just move on to your setup. Like, what bows are you shooting now? What are you using, release wise, stabilizer wise? Give us a full rundown.
So for my target setup, I'm shooting a Bowtech Reckoning Gen 2 39 with the long draw cams. I shoot pinnet strings. I'm shooting an Excel landslide with a Shrewd Optum scope. I shoot a Hamsky Epsilon version 2. Right now I'm shooting Black Eagle PS23s, Flex Fletch, the Pro 2.5s. And then for my release, I shoot a Stan, what's it called? Not a Fusion. I can't remember. It's
fine. You got so many releases, man. Like,
I do. I have a lot.
It's hard to remember which one you're currently using.
Yeah. It's like it's an index, but it operates like a hinge.
Right.
So it has a click in it, and you can shoot it with 2 fingers instead of 1.
Yeah, I think Travis McGregor uses one too.
Yeah,
the exact same one, I think.
Yeah.
So
he copied me.
So at what point of using all these different releases did you realize that hinge/index one was the one that was working for you?
So I fell down the rabbit hole that I think a lot of us do, and releases are something that it's super easy to buy a new one. Like it's not like buying a new rest, right? You don't have to reset up your bow and like retune it and stuff. A release you can just buy off the shelf and like use your whole setup and just try it out. And I bought a handful of releases. I started with a Scott Little Goose, and then I bought some used, handhelds, thumbs, hinges, and I just kept going back to like an index style. And the reason why I shoot a wrist strap release is because I love the anchor point of a wrist strap. It might be because of my like bone structure on my face, but it's something that I find just completely rock solid. Whereas with a handheld, like a button or a hinge, I find I have to put more mental focus into having that like rock solid anchor point. Whereas with the wrist strap, it comes so naturally to me that it's something I don't have to think about. And for me, it's consistency. I'm just 100% consistent with using that style of release.
Yeah, I've used an index wrist release before, and I same thing as I never really thought of it as like when it was in anchor. It wasn't really a thought. It was just it always felt like it was in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when I went to the hinge, like now I'm still sort of thinking about it. Like, am I in the right spot? And sometimes I'm not. Um, I've people have watched me shoot and say that I'm changing my anchor point every other shot, and I don't feel it. Like I just don't feel that I'm in the wrong spot or in a different spot. I don't know. It's different.
Yeah, with an index, getting the back of your jaw into that like V of your index and your thumb, your bone structure kind of fits perfectly into your hand there, versus a handheld where you have so much surface area on your hand that a lot of people like to shoot with their jawline in between their two knuckles because it's a really strong reference point. But maybe due to your face structure or even how you're holding the release, there's so much surface area on your hand that that marker can move a little bit and you won't be able to physically notice it as much.
Yeah, because with the wrist release, it's in the same spot every time. Like it's on your wrist. It goes out to the same spot every time. But with the hinge, I might be holding it in my knuckles here the first time, and the next time it's a little further back or it's a little further forward, and like just something that I've never really thought about until you brought it up, honestly. And now looking back, it's like, yeah, I have had that kind of issue with it.
And that all gets back to practice.
Yeah,
Yep.
and consistency.
Yeah. So like I was saying, like Valerie has a whole page of stuff where she experimented where it was best to hold her thumb release. Is it here? Is it out here? Is it deep in there? It's like you can really go down the rabbit hole with practicing, right? So and to be able to remain consistent, that's kind of what you got to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
really
and for me, like consistency is key when it comes to archery. One of my favorite quotes from Dudley is, archery is easy. All you have to do is hit an X and do it again, right? But that's the hardest thing to do, right? Because there's so many factors in archery that every single thing has to be in line to make a perfect shot.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of the reasons why we don't hit that perfect shot consistently is because maybe one of those 20 things isn't 100% perfect. And, taking that mentality is like, I love handheld releases, but if there's one less thing I have to think about, I'll take that option because it helps eliminate that line of, that option of things that have to be in line, right? And it minimizes it, and it can help you with consistency because it's, like I said, it's one less thing that you have to, make correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I like asking this question to every guest that I have the chance to ask. And I change it up almost every time. But you and I run the Caribou Media podcast on Monday.
Yeah.
Going over all the new bows. If you had to choose a bow setup and money's not an issue, what bow are you picking?
Well, that's tough. When it comes to new bows, there's so many good new bows. And, there's really not a bad bow on the market nowadays. But if I had unlimited money, I can't say Bowtech right now because Bowtech doesn't have a new bow.
Right.
But I love my Reckoning. I love my Reckoning so much. I think what I would do is I would get a custom built Reckoning,
Nice.
and I would get that thing gold plated.
That'd be a heavy
Like-
bow, dude.
No, it's plated, man. It's plated, but like real gold.
It's gonna be
Nice.
pimping.
Yeah, might be a little shiny, but whatever.
It's a 3D bow.
That's
You're
just
not
the mess of
hunting
the
with it.
competition.
Yeah.
All right. Stabilizers,
Yeah,
sights. What are you running?
I would go with a K50 setup. If money's no option, because it's going to be more expensive. So, first thing I would buy as far as stabilizers is it's new for 2025, is the Shrewd Index Bar. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's, the stabilizer is spined, and you can adjust on the connection point where that like spine is on your stabilizer. So you can customize how the stabilizer reacts to vibration.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool.
So I would get the index bar. I would get the Shrewd V-bar mount, run 2 bars off of it.
Sick, dude.
I would run the same stainless steel weights that I'm known for, but I would get those gold plated. And then as far as sights, one of the sights that I really want to get my hands on is the Bowfinger sight. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I have not actually.
It's an expensive sight, but it looks extremely well built, and there's a lot of cool like features on it to be able to not tune it, but like set it up, and it's really robust
Shit.
and strong.
That thing looks, it looks really robust. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else can I go? I'd get the new Hamsky R7 Rest, which I am gonna pick up. I'm gonna buy that. What else can I get?
Strings.
I'd get System X strings from Gas, and I would probably buy a True Ball release with one of their Trident hooks, like the multi 3 hooks that
Nice.
always rotate in place.
Yeah. Cool.
I love the True Ball stuff. I think the quality's like best on the market. I think that's what I would go with.
I think
the
that's the
gold-plated Reckoning.
coolest bow that someone would get on the show. That's pretty sick.
Honestly, I'm surprised no one's done like a gold-plated bow before.
I don't think anyone's chosen a custom bow though. Like they just, said they'll take that bow with this setup and whatever, and didn't put any creativity into it.
I think PSC did a bow that was the riser. It wasn't obviously gold plated, but it was a gold color, like it was a simulated gold plate. I can't remember what bow it was. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, back in geez, I'll have to think about it.
I mean,
going back to that 2-fingered release that you use. Is it the Scott Verge?
Yes, it's the
There you
Verge.
go.
Yeah, so I like it because it's one, the anchor point with the wrist strap, but 2, it functions like a hinge. So having target panic early on, having a click was like critical for me. I loved the click. The click helped me so much. And the predecessor to the Verge was the Scott Hex. So I shot that for a while, and then they upgraded that to the Verge.
This is the part of the show where we just fire a bunch of questions at you. So
Sweet.
take it away, Justin.
Okay. What's the worst shot you've ever taken? Starting from, so as a pro, or I'm going to consider you kind of a pro because you are, but starting now, what's the worst shot you've ever taken?
Can I make this a long answer?
Sure.
Sure.
So quick fire questions, not quick fire responses. So
It was at Royal City. It was the first time I shot at Royal City. And I was mentioning this earlier, but I was so nervous at that event because it was so packed that I decided not to go to the practice range. And the day before that event, I was messing with my bow, specifically messing with my new rest that I got.
Oh,
And I decided not to practice. So I got my scorecard and I went to the first target, and we drew cards and I was first up. And I drew back and my rest didn't flip up.
oh no.
Oh no.
And I said, give me a second, guys. I need to screw with this a little bit and try to figure out what's going on. And I realized I hooked up my cable backwards. So it wasn't pulling the spring properly to flip up my rest. And I was messing with it and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, guys, I need to go to the practice range. Like, you guys carry on. I'll just catch up with you. Like, hopefully I'm not too long. So I ran back to the practice range, finally realized what I did. And at this point, when I get back on the range, like, I don't see anyone. So I'm like rushing. I'm like slamming targets like there's no tomorrow. And I get up to this point. This is before the creek. And you guys had a cougar that was like 30 yards or something like that. And I misdialed my sight because I was in such a rush. And it's the first target ever that I've just completely missed. And I was so sad. I was so sad. And I remember finishing that day and like being so depressed at my score that I didn't even hand in my scorecard. I came off the course, I got in my car and I just left.
Oh man.
But like I was in such a like anxious mental state of being like, I'm so behind, like I need to catch up to these guys, that I was just rushing through targets like crazy. And I made so many shots, but that one shot of missing that cougar just haunted me for the rest of the day.
There's always one.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be one.
Yeah.
All right,
speak-
it's my turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
What's the target, like the 3D target that you absolutely hate to shoot?
Probably the Velociraptor.
Do we have one of those?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the painted stripes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
two of them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the-
it would have to be the Velociraptor or the what is it, the Reinhardt leopard?
Oh,
the spotted leopard.
Is spotted leopard,
yeah,
but
we got one of those too.
but it's in
Yeah.
like a jumping position.
The rock leopard.
It's
Yes.
landing on his front legs.
Yeah, the rock
Yeah,
leopard.
fuck that
Yeah.
fucking target, man.
Yeah,
we got both of those.
The Velociraptor for me is always a very technical shot because the scoring points are in a very visible spot, like where those stripes are, but it's actually not a very big bodied target.
No.
And it's, when you're looking at it through your binos, you're like, okay, I got a good reference point. I'm going to smoke this. And then you look at the target through your peep and you're like, I'm kind of scared I'm going to miss. And it's always a very difficult shot for me. And the spotted leopard, anything with a lot of spots on it, whether it's Reinhardt or Delta McKenzie, you know, I'm not envious of guys that shoot lenses on those targets because at least I can see most of the whole body. But like some of those Delta McKenzie targets with all the spots, like, you know, it's super hard to find that reference. Like you can see the reference point with your eyes in your binos. You're like, okay, I know the spot. And then as soon as you look through your peep, you're like, I don't know which dot it is.
It could be any one of them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say one thing about the Raptor. If you ever get a chance to buy one, do not. Worst target because the back is so thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, the technical shot, the core is about that big. So people shoot high on it, and we had the duckbill, which is basically a raptor with a duckbill head.
They're
And
pretty similar, yeah.
It's split in half. The tail's always falling off.
Yeah.
Don't get it. It's
the core's in a bad position in that target.
Yeah,
And like you said, it's so high up on the body, and the body's so narrow that those connecting points outside of the core are so small.
Yeah.
And once they get shot out, it's hard to keep that target alive.
Yeah, it's great for the kids. The kids love it. I think we'll keep ours in storage except for fun tournaments. But yeah, I remember we bought the duckbill in 23 and lasted a year and a half, and then it split. Anyways, go ahead, Justin. Sorry about that. It's one of my pet peeves. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, what's your dream hunt?
Ooh, that's a good question. One of my dream hunts was a hunt I went on this year that I was unsuccessful at, which was a moose hunt. We went with rifles. But when it comes to archery, probably an elk hunt. I think elk are unique in the sense that, like turkeys, you have that ability to communicate. Whitetail, you can be sitting in the stand and doing everything right, calling, rattling, and you don't know you're doing it right? That deer can come out of nowhere and not say a peep. But with elk, there's that line of communication that you have. And also the countryside that you hunt elk is something that's really appealing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they bugle, man, it's something otherworldly. Like, there's nothing like it.
No, and like, if you've gone turkey hunting, how exciting it is to hear a turkey gobble. Like, I can only imagine how cool it is to hear an elk bugle, like, across a canyon.
Dude, turkeys get my blood pumping when they gobble. I couldn't imagine hearing an elk in person, a mile away, across the canyon or whatever, and you're just pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be applying for a few tags next year, so we'll see. But
Right on.
Yeah.
Like Alberta way, US?
Mainly in the US. So there's some states, I think Pennsylvania is one of them, where as a non-resident you have the same odds as a resident. So everyone's on an equal playing field. You pay a little bit more as a non-resident, but it's not a point system, it's a lottery system, so it's worth putting points in for. And unlike Canada, where most of our provinces are guided only for non-residents, I don't want to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a hunt, so I'm kind of handcuffed to go to the States for those non-resident tags.
Is there over-the-counter, over-the-shelf tags that you can get in the States?
There was in Colorado this year, 2025. They kiboshed it, I believe, because it was one of the only states that had over-the-counter elk tags for non-resident, and I think it was just too popular. Like, too many people were going, and I think it was devaluing the residents' experience, because these trailheads were just getting flooded with non-residents.
Yeah, that's fair. Sticking on the topic of hunting here, what would you deem worse, missing a crucial target during a big event like the SEC, provincials, or nationals, or shooting too high over the back of a deer?
Well, I've done both. Definitely missing a target at a competition, for sure. I think, especially at, in events like nationals, like, I'm there to get on the podium, and anything other than that to me is a failure. Missing deer, I'd rather miss a deer than wound a deer. The first doe I ever took with a bow, I missed the first shot. I had shot all year with my 3-pin slider, and I drew back and I shot with my floater pin, which is my bottom pin, and I shot right over the doe. And I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, that pin was dead on, but I was shooting with my bottom pin, and the deer was only at like 15 yards. And then luckily the deer had no idea what had happened, and it came back out, and I got a second shot at it and I killed it. But yeah, I mean, especially missing a shot in a shoot down is like my biggest fear. Like, it's one thing to miss a shot with a group of guys that you're like in contention with, but it's another to miss a shot in front of like a crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is nerve-wracking. So 2 more for you. So the first one's going to be one line of advice for every archer listening today.
I think I've touched on it a few times, but you know, I understand not everyone like wants to be the best. Some people don't even necessarily want to improve, but if you do want to improve, you have to have the mindset that every time you go to the range or to the practice range, if you are wanting to practice, there has to be something you're working on. You know, we all love archery. We all love shooting. We all love having fun, but shooting is not practicing. And until you realize that there's a difference between the two, you're not going to grow as much as you have the ability to. And there's so much free information out there nowadays that, if you want to get better, the opportunity is there for you. You just got to put the work in and focus on small things. And sooner or later, like, you're going to see those improvements over time.
I agree. And then the last one is, well, it's the kind of the tradition of the show. You're a letdown moment.
If I didn't tell the story, I would have said when I missed that target at your club. I think personally, my biggest letdown was I had to do a 5th shot at the Southern Classic last year. And I had such bad target panic, and I made a horrible shot. I needed to shoot an 8 to win, and I shot a 5. And it was at a target that was like 26 yards away. And to me, it was the letdown to myself. Like, I couldn't have had an easier shot, and I let myself down. And for me, those are the biggest improvements that I have in archery, because I couldn't stop thinking about that. And I knew what I did wrong. And I remember the day I got back from that is I was in the range for like 3 hours after that, like till the sun went down. And yeah, those moments suck in competition. But you can either sulk over it and be upset about it, or you can try to grow from it and be better.
Yeah. So just the second part to that question, then we kind of like ongoing debate here about letting down. Are you a kind of guy who lets down, or do you force a shot?
I definitely force a shot more than I should. I'm actually a huge supporter of letting down. I need to do it a lot more. For me, it's a timing thing. Like, one of the most overlooked things in archery is your timing, right? There's that sweet spot that when you find it, everything clicks, everything falls in place. And it doesn't take long before that time expires and things start to slowly dwindle. And knowing and understanding when that moment is crucial to upgrade to the next level of archery. And traditionally, I usually only let down when there's like environmental things, like when there's wind, when there's loud noises, when people are yelling, hooting and hollering or whatever, and my mental focus starts to get a little bit distracted. or if I don't feel confident, if there's wind and things are moving around a lot. But most of the time when I make a bad shot, I probably should have let down. So I'm a supporter of letting down. I just don't do it enough. That's the problem.
So far it's everybody against Valerie, it seems. So
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Payton, I just wanted to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, huge respect for you both as a competitor and club leader in Ontario. Where can we find you online? Where can we find your club?
So right now you can find me on Payton_Golden on Instagram. And the club that I'm a part of is the Elmira Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah.
And Misha, where can we find you?
Instagram, Misha Corso, as well as Stray Sons Archery. If you guys want to grab some nice bow hunting apparel, I got some shirts on the website up there. So go take a look at those.
Yeah, they're nice. I must say they are nice. Justin, I always ask you, but I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
you're not an online guy.
You can follow me on Facebook, Justin Harrison, or again, I still don't remember my Instagram name. Kind of terrible at that, but yeah, that's right.
And you can catch the show on the Letdown, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, that was great. Thanks again, Payton.
Sweet.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Welcome back to the Letdown, the podcast where accuracy is questionable, but enthusiasm is deadly.
Speak for yourself. My enthusiasm is questionable too.
Just Justin, say your part again. Just say it again.
Speak for yourself. My enthusiasm is questionable too.
Today we've got someone who isn't questionable. Fuck, stop laughing, man.
Is it killing me here?
That's part of what I'm saying. I'm reacting to what he's saying.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, I won't laugh then.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to Letdown, the podcast where accuracy is questionable, but our enthusiasm is deadly.
Speak for yourself. My enthusiasm is questionable too.
Today we've got someone who isn't questionable. He's a Canadian 3D national champion and the archery director at Elmira Rod and Gun Club, Payton Golden.
Let's get into it.
Sorry, one more time.
Justin's still not being recorded.
It's recording.
Yeah, it's recording
I see it now. Yeah, it's recording for me. I see it up at the top.
Is it recording? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can cut all this stuff out, so we'll just start. We'll start cold here. All right. Ah, crap! I don't remember where. Okay, there we go. There. Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Letdown, the podcast where our accuracy is questionable, but our enthusiasm is deadly.
Speak for yourself. My enthusiasm is questionable too.
Do that again, dude. Holy fuck.
What? I looked up, right?
You sound like a fucking Batman villain. What the fuck you doing?
I'm sorry. Oh God, it's going on Facebook. Shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Justin.